first view, there have been not much changes from the LG G3 here on the right side to the LG G4 on the left. As you can see, it's almost the same device measurements. Yes, here it's a little bit more round here, up and down, and it's 1 millimeter more in the width and 3 millimeters in height. Weight is still 155 grams, and especially it seems to be the same display because you have again this almost 5.5 inch diagonal, to be precise, 5.47 on the G3 and 5.46 on the G4, coming again with this 1440 by 2560 pixels to that extremely high density of 538 ppi here. So extremely sharp. But there are differences, as you can see if you look closer, and that's exactly what we want to do right now. I'm going a little bit closer, and now watch, for example, here, this flower in the middle. First of all, I hope you see in this video here in person, I see that first it's a little bit brighter. I measured on the G4 410 nits, on the G3 it was 385. All right, G3 is speaking about 500 here on the G4, but I couldn't measure this. So this is comparable values in real life. And second, it's a different panel on the G4. LG is speaking of a quantum display. Sounds great. Shall deliver more contrast, up to 50%. Brightness, we have seen already, and 20% more colors. And that's what you can really see if you watch here these yellow color tones. Here on the G4, it not only looks brighter, but more vivid. So you have more colors. It's looking a little bit more like in nature. So, and that's what you can see, for example, in faces like this one over here. It's a little bit more like in nature, a little bit warmer, of course. And for example, if you see or compare these yellow fields over here on the G3, it looks a little bit, yeah, almost dirty, and here on the G4 it's more vivid, more bright, more likable, at least for me. And that's something you will not see on these test sample photos, but on real life photos too, as you can see here. So it's really a little better for me on the G4, but little. That's a word you should keep in mind, because the difference is not so big that you would have to change, at least not only for the display from the G3 to the G4. That's only a small step. But there's way more that has been changed if you look closer. First, coming to the design, of course, it's a little bit different. Here on the G3, again, to remind you, we have had this, metallic look but that's plastic, but it's metallic look. Here, again, kind of metallic look, but on top of that, you have these structure, and that's not nothing only you can see, but you can feel. It's really going like that you feel the different height over here, and I really love that. And especially, you might have already heard, there are leather backs, so you can remove the bag or order with the leather bag. So this is real leather, and there are back sides, of course, that support wireless charging of this battery. You can remove, as you can see, again 3000 milliamps like on the predecessor. And this is of course not on all smartphones today too, the micro SD slot, so up to 2 terabyte. All right, I know there are no micro SD card at the moment, more than 128 gigabyte, but nevertheless, you are prepared for the future, and that's always a good decision. And there's, of course, more. First of all, you have that new Snapdragon processor. Yeah, big story. You all will have heard, why is not the Snapdragon 810 inside the actual flagship chip from Qualcomm? Here we have had the 801. It's only the 808. because there have been rumors of overheating problems. But I tested, for example, the HTC One M9 and the LG G Flex 2, both with the Snapdragon 810 inside. Both had, they got warm, but not overheating. But the bigger problem is the battery runtime went down. For example, on the G Flex 2, it was 14% below the average. Average meaning all smartphones I've tested in the last 12 months. And even the HTC One M9 is 19% battery runtime below the average. So that's now the question, what is doing the Snapdragon 808? First of all, it just has 6 instead of 8 cores, and only 2 are, let's say, power cores, Cortex A47. So meaning it seems not to be so powerful. And we have just 1.8 gigahertz to compare it. Here we have 4 cores with 2.5 gigahertz. But on the other hand, Adreno 330, now it's Adreno 418 and 2 GB RAM, 3 GB RAM. So it's coming all together here. And so I was very, very surprised to see the benchmark results. As you might know, I'm always taking 12 benchmarks with more than 50 single values and computing a altogether value of benchmarking. And here the G4 is 33% above the average. The G3 at the moment actually 16% above the average. So good, better. So this is the right decision, I guess, at least concerning the power of the CPU to go this direction. All right, and now it comes battery runtime, 3000 milliamps. Here on the G4, I've got with my tests, it's always the same. It's video on 200 nits and flight mode. The G4 did 459 minutes compared to 402 minutes on the G3. So a big step forward, and compared again to the market, here we are 16% below average on the G3 runtime, and here only 4% below average. That's not a really good value, I know, but almost average. So nevertheless, it's okay for that processor and that resolution on the display that's very big and everything. So you can live with it, I guess. It's at least a better decision than choosing the 810, and I'm pretty sure that then the runtime would have been again 14, 19 or more percent below the average. So here only 4% below the average only. So I seem good decision, first of all. Yeah. And of course, we have that new camera. It's not only that you have now 16 instead of 13 megapixels, but there's way more. First of all, you have a new optical image stabilizer that's at least LG is telling me, now compensating small moves of your hand with up to 2 degrees, and here on the predecessor it was just 1 degree. So you could say that the optical image stabilizer now is double as capacitive as the former one. And at least the same weight for me, you have a totally new optics in here. Now the aperture is 1.8. Here it was 1.9. Less is better, as you might know. And you might think, if you're not a pro photographer, well, 1.9, 1.8, what the hell? So don't mind. It's first of all, LG is telling that this optics is getting 11% more light on the sensor. So this is, I at least hope that we will get better pictures in low light situations with that. And on top of that, we have again that dual color flash here, like on the G3, but now here we not only have that laser sensor for measuring the for the autofocus, how far away the motif is, but also now a color spectrum sensor that's measuring the surrounding color and also detecting, oh, this is a motif you're seeing through your camera lens, and measures what the color temperature of that motif is. So it can, at least LG is telling me, that this flash will be more precisely going to the color you need for having the most possible nature-like colors on your photo. We will see if this is totally right, but at least it sounds like it could be possible. Yeah, videos again in 4K, and on the front side videos like on the predecessor in Full HD, but photos now with 8 instead of 2 megapixels. Unfortunately, I miss still here a front LED, at least a white one would have been good, but yeah, okay, that's for the G5, I hope, at least on my wish list. Not to mention that we have now 32 gigabyte internal memory always. Here on the predecessor, on the G3 it was, you had the choice between 16 and 32 gigabyte. By the way, net memory value you should calculate with, you're having 20.7 gigabyte left when you have updated all the operating system. By the way, it's Android 5.1 and all the pre-installed apps. Then you will have a net memory size of 20.7 gigabyte. That's the value you should keep in mind. It's no IP, so no protection against water or dust. You don't have any fingerprint reader. Maybe you should use it, I don't know, on other devices. I never did, but that's different depending on what you're doing, all right? But on the feature side is totally everything you could have imagined. It's LTE, it's HSPA, Wi-Fi, AC, NFC, everything. So it's not, so I'm missing nothing. But compared with the prices, this is heavy because we're now talking in this setting here with this plastic background. We're talking about a recommended retail price of 649 euros, at least here in Germany, Europe. On the predecessor, it was 549, so 100 euros more. And at the moment, starting the G3 right now, these days, the street prices are the recommended retail price, maybe 1 or 2 euros less. Instead, the G3 is at the moment street prices down to 360 and 400 for the 16 and 32 gigabyte version. So this is bigger difference, especially the leatherback side version is 699. So almost 150 euros difference concerned to the recommended retail price of the predecessor, and way more concerning compared to the street prices of the G3. So you really should be aware of, if you really want to spend so much more money for the G4 instead of the G3, for a little bit more processor capacity, a little bit more battery runtime, a little bit better, I hope at least, a little bit better photos, and yeah, 32 gigabyte internal memory. So be aware of that. You now know the facts. It's your decision. Right. I hope I could help you a little bit with this first impression of the G4, I'm sorry, compared to the G3. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.